situation is still very complex and complicated, though I have to say in the past 72 hours, Tehran has been peaceful and quiet, but the challenging issue, especially for reporters, for journalists, for correspondents, for so many businesses in Tehran, is that we have no access to the international internet. Even some internal messaging applications are not functioning. Today, just a few hours ago, I found out that international phone calls have been possible again, because in the past 5 or 6 days, no one has been able to make international phone calls.
We have verified over 1,850 to be exact, protesters killed. We have 779 additional cases under review. And so this is an extraordinarily high number in and of itself. One death is too many deaths, but we have a really high number now. And the way that we verify this information as an organization is really no different than the way that we collect information in less sort of sensitive times. We have developed and maintained a large network across the country since the inception of the organization. And so in order to verify information, we rely on that in-country network. Everything that we produce as verified information has been confirmed with a primary source inside of the country. We have documented over 16,700 arrests. These are people that are being arbitrarily detained in sometimes unknown detention facilities, and they're also being subject to forced confessions. We have documented an unprecedented number of forced confessions in the last 16 days, and a number of 97 forced confessions in such a short period of time is extremely concerning. Forced confessions are a pattern of the Iranian regime. But they happen under coercion, and that coercion is often done with psychological and physical torture. And this is concerning in and of itself. But then later in a show trial, these confessions are used as justifications to sentence people to death. And so what you have is numerous rights violations compounding upon each other. They're starting in the streets when people don't have the right to assemble freely. And then people are arrested without due process, without any sort of legal guarantees. They don't have access to an attorney. They then are tortured to confess to a crime they didn't commit. And then that confession is used against them in a trial where they've had no guarantees up until that point. And then oftentimes we have to work on their behalf to get the international community to pay attention and halt their death penalty, which is not always successful.
So we had great numbers. Iran is on my mind when I see the kind of death that is happening over there.
شما برید پشت مردمی که نشون دادین تو غزه چجور پشت مردمین، نشون دادین تو کشورهای دیگه هنوز خونشون رو سر و صورتتون هست و این حرفا رو میزنید. این بیشتر شبیه یک لطیفه است تا یه حرفه.
اینها هم مذاکرهشون و هم حمایتشون همه فریب بوده و فقط میخوان که ما رو مثل سوریه و عراق ناامن بکنن کشورمون رو و این ایران رو تضییع بکنن و این منافع و مطامعشون رو بهره برداری بکنن.
شهادت میدانی در شهرهای مختلف شب گذشته اموال عمومی در برخی از شهرها بیشتر از بقیه بوده.
I have been glued to social media, news from outside of Iran, all kinds of sources, but I haven't been able to reach any of my family members or friends, which both in capital and I'm from Isfahan, so no, I to this day, to this moment, I have no news from my pretty large extended family, and we are all over the world spread in Germany, in France, in Vancouver. So we are all calling each other, any news, and no one has any news. But But my heart goes out to my people. I think in every conversation that we have, we should not forget the central object, the central point, which in this case is human suffering. And the fact that I live here, I'm privileged enough to have a business to sort of make a life here, does not allow me to have a voice about their lives, because they have been suffering for the last 44 years in terms of brutal economic sanction, and previous that, 8 years of war and terrible dictatorship within the country and all the external factors that to this day brought Iran to this point. And I was in Iran a few months ago, and I just couldn't believe how my middle class family could not even simply afford a basic meal. And I come from a middle class background, let alone to the poor people. There is no future, there is no job, there is no water, there is no electricity, or many of us cannot go back. But I am very lucky to go back, and I'm very connected to not only big extended family, like old friends from university. I'm very, very fortunate to have footing in both places. And for me, it's incredibly emotional to witness the destruction of my country through the 12 days of war, and now like buildings burning, massacres is happening, body bags on the floor. And is it true? Is it AI? Is it news? Is it reality? And to this moment that we speak, I have no news of my family, but I think it's very simplistic to just think about my suffering. There's no suffering. I'm just a witness to atrocities and across the board. I'm witnessing unnecessary harm done to people who just want a basic life. And that injustice is killing me more than anything.
اقدامات مسلحانه آنها و حضور گسترده مردم در محکومیت این اقدامات، این گونه تجمعات در روز جمعه با کاهش 90% همراه بوده. بر اساس اخبار به دست آمده این گروه‌های مسلح و تروریست
大家好，我是主播周玉琴。很多的朋友告诉我们，太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌帮助了睡眠品质。原版的太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌，它添加有超级食物羽衣甘蓝，健康再加分。而有睡眠困扰的朋友们，赶快选择蓝色包装这一款晚安加强版，绝对是更有感。每日克菲尔，时刻美好 ，Good Feel Good， 请上快点购为健康下单，而且要记得输入推荐代码，有额外的折扣优惠。太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌基础版、晚安加强版，新包装改版，内容不变，抽取更方便。要吃就吃最好的。